Everyone, and welcome to Comics from the Future. I'm Andy.
I'm Matt.
We're here with Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and this is our big show where we show you some of the biggest and best books that you can pre-order by this weekend so you don't miss out on any of the good comic stuff that we've got in store for you. This is a really interesting show, some really cool number ones and everything. I feel like we're still... they're holding back a little bit right before summer kicks off,
Yeah.
where we're going to be getting a lot of big stuff.
This does feel a little bit like the calm before the storm.
Yeah.
But in a good way.
Yeah, so, this is all kind of pre-free comic book day, all of that. But when that hits, it's, no one's safe.
Tidal waves.
Yep.
Yeah.
So let's get into our first section, which is our featured comics.
We're going to start with Batman Dark Age #1. This is going to be a 6-issue miniseries. This is written by Mark Russell, and the art is by Mike Allred, which you can see on the cover there. This is a retelling of Batman's origin, but it's set against the backdrop of actual historical events. It's kind of similar to the Superman Space Age book that came out, I think it wrapped up last year, and the trade's out for that now, because Mike Allred did the art on that too. I'm not sure if Mark Russell wrote that. I think he did.
I think he did.
So it's very similar to that, but just with Batman. And it's going to give us a look at Batman as a figure in American history fighting for justice in a world gone mad. What I'm interested in, though, is like the sort of the Art Deco future world on that cover there, because we have the other book that's coming out next week called Batman, the
Batman,
the Bat-Man, which is kind of sort of the same thing. Look at his origin, but in actual real world 1939. And this sort of feels similar, but that cover also gives me different vibes too.
Very different art styles, and I believe the one that's about to come out is more about like an old mission that Batman had in the original comic series, all of that. But I do believe it still says like it's set against the backdrop of the real time it took place.
So slightly similar Batman books, but if you enjoyed Superman Space Age, then I would recommend checking this out because I think this will be pretty cool. So we have our A cover right here by Michael Allred. We have our Yannick Paquette cover.
Very different.
Yeah. And then there is a Frank Quitely variant as well. That doesn't quite look like Quitely. That looks a little bit... That looks like Quitely by way of Alex Maleev or something like that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, or Jay Lee.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Jay Lee, yeah.
Okay, next up, we've got a big one. I think this is going to be super popular. This is Feral from the creators of Stray Dogs. And what a runaway hit Stray Dogs was.
I loved it. I love Stray Dogs.
It was great all the way through it, too. So it's by Tony Fleecs, and the art is by Trish Forrester and Tone Rodriguez. And you can see, like, this is definitely in that same world pretty much. This is everybody's asking, is there going to be like a Stray Dogs 2 or whatever? Right. It's like, no, let's flip it over to cats this time. And also where that first one was kind of about a serial killer that kept the dogs of people he killed and everything. This is a little bit different. So in this we have 3 indoor cats. If you own cats, you know there's a big difference between indoor cats and outdoor cats, who are lost in the outdoors in the woods during a nightmarish rabies outbreak. So it's a little zombie outbreak feeling, because it says we've got our 3 cats, Elsie, Lord Fluffy Britches, and Patch, must find their way home before the rabid beasts of the forest get them. And it says, don't get bit, don't get scratched, or you'll become feral. So it feels very zombie survival, 28 days later type thing, but with cats this time. So I think this sounds great. Stray Dogs sold incredibly well, incredibly fast.
Especially those like movie poster homage covers.
Yes, and we've got some more for this one as well. So don't sleep on this, because this is going to be really, really hot this time. So we've got our A cover right here. We also have our Tony Fleecs variant, this time homaging the zombie with Dawn of the Dead. And we have a blank sketch cover as well.
Next is Spider-Man Shadow of the Green Goblin #1. This is a miniseries. I'm not sure how many issues, either 4, 5, or 6. I'm not too sure. But this is written by J.M. DeMatteis, and the art is by Michael Sta Maria. And this is going to revisit. So this is this is kind of a deep cut. So this is going way back to the beginning before Norman Osborn was the Green Goblin, or around that time. And it's going to focus on the Proto-Goblin. We're going to learn the shocking secrets of the Proto-Goblin. Now, this actually stems out of the -1 issue of the Adjectiveless Spider-Man book that came out in 1997. And I have that original copy. I looked through it the other day, and it's all about the Proto-Goblin. Norman Osborn in that book has a research assistant named Nels Van Adder, and he was the first test subject for the Goblin formula, which transformed him into the Proto-Goblin. And in that book, he doesn't look like this. He looks more like an actual goblin.
Yeah.
Like he's all, goblined out and not a costume or anything like that. But I want to say, I might be a little bit wrong, but I want to say that it's like he became the Proto-Goblin, and then from there, Norman was able to use his blood or something from that to then create the Goblin formula. So it was he was like a guinea pig, basically. So this is all going to tie into that. It's, Peter Parker is still really, really young in this. So this is, Marvel releases a lot of miniseries that are kind of set back around the time of the 90s. This goes back to the 60s, old school Norman Osborn stuff. And it also says, what role does the young Peter Parker play in the unfolding of events? So just another cool new Spider-Man story, but set way, 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 way back. So it should be, and J.M. DeMatteis, I'm pretty sure, was the writer on that -1 issue as well. Yeah. So revisiting all that, so it should be really cool. So we have our A cover right here. We have a green blank sketch variant. There's a Mike Del Mundo variant, which is creepy. There's a Dan Panosian vampire variant because we are gearing up for Blood Hunt in a couple months, and then there is a Smith Hidden Gem variant. Like that one.
Very cool. Mm-hmm. And I forgot where it was. Maybe it's on one of the next covers or something. You see the Proto-Goblin. And he has a very different... It almost reminds me more of Ultimate Green Goblin, where he's a bit more monstrous.
I think he's red.
Yeah.
And he's got fangs, and he looks more monstrous.
So next up, we've got Sam and Twitch Case Files #1. So I kind of feel like this is the first of those announced about a year ago or so, new Todd McFarlane Spawn universe projects. Wasn't there 10? He said.
Yeah, and they just a couple days ago they announced all the other ones. Yeah, but I don't remember what they were. There were so many, but yeah,
we're starting with Sam and Twitch, who I feel like are kind of some Todd McFarlane favorites. He always works Sam and Twitch in. I know he's talked about doing a TV show based on Sam and Twitch. These two detectives who are partners. They get along a lot of the times, don't get along a lot of the times. But, we're there from the beginning of Spawn. Probably, I don't know if they were in #1, but maybe #2, something like that. And they've had a series in the past, but, this is our new one coming here. Written by Todd McFarlane, and the art is by Simon Kurdansky. And it doesn't say a whole lot about what this is about, but from looking ahead, it looks like they're going to be investigating some murders of some cases they long thought closed. So I wonder if we're going to see maybe Billy Kincaid pop back up. Or
Billy Kincaid is going to play a factor in, not necessarily in this book, but somewhere in this new realm of books, there is going to be a Billy Kincaid something.
Yeah, so I imagine it's going to be some old Spawn cases that they bring back and explore some more. But I think this sounds really cool. I love just all the Spawn universe stuff. So we've got this one. This is our A cover by Kurdansky, and we have a Todd McFarlane variant. Very noir. Okay.
Next is Duke #4. We're big fans of Duke around here. We're big fans of all the Energon Universe stuff around here. This is a 5-issue miniseries, so this is the next to last issue. We don't get a whole lot of information about what this issue is about, but it does say that Duke is close to discovering the truth about the alien robots, the Transformers, that have landed on Earth. And it says, who or what is Mars, the Mars Corporation, which we got a little bit of a tease of in the first issue, a little glimpse of in the most recent issue. And, if you know... Well, if you don't know what Mars is, I won't tell you. But if you grew up with G.I. Joe and Cobra, you know who runs Mars, and I'm really excited for that to all come out as well, because that's just going to flesh out this universe even more. So should be super cool. Duke sells out always super fast, so please pre-order if you want to get this. Please pre-order so that you don't miss it. So this is our A cover right here, and then we have a Bresson and Lucas variant as well. That's kind of like I feel like that could be the next panel after the end of the last issue. Like that's
Yeah.
the very next thing you see.
And I like this one too because now you see Duke leading Rock
Yeah.
and Roll and Stalker and Baroness and everybody, in that. So we're getting closer to
Yep.
that Duke being the leader of Joe. Okay, next up we have Local Man, Bad Girls One Shot. This is, of course, in the Local Man universe, written by Tim Seeley and Tony Fleeck. So we just saw on Feral and Stray Dogs and all of that. If you haven't been reading Local Man, it is so much fun. It's such a comic book reader's comic.
Yeah, it's kind of meta, sort of. I mean, it's
Yeah.
telling its own story, but there's a little tongue in cheek. Like,
Yep.
If you read '90s comics, it's like, oh, they're going back to
And
that.
this kind of tackles another section of 90s comics. So in this, Inga, who is the Local Man's ex-girlfriend and now his arch enemy, is on the run, and she's going to be running into a couple other female heroes in the Local Man universe. But this is definitely playing off some of that heavy tongue-in-cheekness of the 90s comics with the bad girls that were all the rage at Image Comics and everything. And so it describes this for fans of, but even more, especially for those that hate the bygone days of blood, blades, boobs, and bad girls. So, if you remember, there's so many characters you could name from that time period. Every company had them.
All of them.
All of them.
All of the female characters. Yeah.
Yes. So this sounds like a fun kind of revisiting of that idea, but shaking it up a little bit. And Tim Seeley's the perfect person to do this. So we've got a couple of covers here, and they're all by Tim Seeley and Brian Reber. So this is our A cover. We have a B cover and a C cover.
Next is Under York, #1. This is going to be a 6-issue miniseries written by Sylvain Runberg, and the art is by Mirka Andolfo. This is about a girl named Allison Walker. She is a promising young painter in Manhattan, but she's also a witch. As is usual. No, but she and her family belong to the world of Under York, which is a mysterious underground New York where 5 powerful clans of witches have reigned for centuries. These families have this strict codes of life and practice magic as powerful as it is dangerous. But their goal is to basically seek revenge for how their families have been treated over the centuries, I guess. And they plan to do that by secretly influencing life on the surface. So this sounds really cool. I'm obviously drawn in by Mirka Andolfo's artwork, but it sounds like a cool, supernatural. Kind of reminds me of something like the first Blade movie. Like the vampires walked among us, but they had their own underground thing. There's a bunch of stories like that, but this one sounds really cool. So this is our A cover, and I think that's the only
It's the only cover they have. So no hard decision there.
Yeah.
Okay, next up we have other #1s, and before we get into those, just want to remind you to head over to infinityflux.net right now, where you can pre-order these books that we are talking about. You can follow along, you head over there, check out all the stuff, even the stuff we're not covering. You can pre-order everything that you pre-order, you get 10% off of, whether we have it shipped to you or you pick it up locally. We appreciate you all the same. So, getting into other #1s, because there's still more, we've got Dudley Datson, what is it? And the Forever Machine.
Right.
Which, it doesn't have it in the main thing, but it feels like kind of a chapter book or whatever,
Right.
that has the fun extra bits. And what's cool about this is actually written by Scott Snyder. Very different for Scott Snyder. Going from stuff like American Vampire to this. And Jamal Engel, who is a fantastic artist with Juan Castro. And this is about Dudley, who's a 15-year-old inventor. Sounds a little bit like a Boy Genius type thing.
Well, that, and then seeing this cover gives me vibes of what was the James Tynion book? Christopher.
You
know the book I'm talking about?
Yep.
Yeah, the weird.
Is it Christopher Chaos? Something like that?
I don't remember. Let us know if I can't remember right now, but if you know which book I'm talking about, tell us.
It's I get a little bit of
The Oddly Pedestrian Life of Christopher something.
Yep. You remembered all the hard
parts.
Parts.
Everything except the name.
But he's super smart, has a knack for inventing things. Him and his dog, sounds like his dog plays a big part in this. And I'm not sure if he builds a machine or discovers a machine that controls time and space. But there's some dastardly foes that are there to turn his world and the actual world upside down. So it sounds really fun. It sounds like I didn't see where it said all ages, but it does sound like probably a fun all ages adventure, or young adult adventure. You can see some very interesting looking characters in the background there. Kind of like characters look like Mr. Negative from Spider-Man and all of that.
I just want to know more about the dog.
Yeah,
I just like there was a dog there, yeah.
That's the real hero of all of this. But we've got a few covers for this. Actually, I didn't even include all the covers because there are so many of them. So you can tell they're really backing this new Scott Snyder venture. So this is the A cover. Then we have the Jamal Ingle cover, which is great.
There's the dog again.
Another Jamal Ingle cover. And a Jones variant. So you can see the dog plays a big part. And I think it's a corgi. And
you were right. It is Chaos. So it's the oddly pedestrian life of Christopher Chaos, like you said. So yeah, that's what it gives me vibes of. We finally got there.
It is that kind of like boy genius. All of that.
All right. So next is Immortal Thor #9. So we wanted to talk about this because this is the lead into this this kind of weird sort of meta story that they're going to be telling called Roxxon Presents Thor. I think that's going to be a one-shot. So what's happening here is that Enchantress and shoot, I forget the main guy's name that owns Roxxon. But they plan on tarnishing the public's view of Thor by essentially rewriting his history, and they do it through a comic book. So
they buy Marvel Comics.
They buy Marvel Comics that exists inside Marvel Comics. And they use magic and stuff to sort of reshape his past, and we've seen tiny little glimpses and hints of that throughout some of the issues so far. And it is kind of weird to get your brain around because it is like almost kind of breaking the fourth wall a little bit. Because like we'll see Thor and Loki like in the last couple of issues doing whatever they're doing, but then it zooms out and we see Enchantress and the Minotaur. That's who it is. Reading that. And they're gonna change a little bit. So what this is actually gonna lead into, and like I said, I think it's a one shot called Roxxon Presents Thor instead of Marvel Comics Presents Thor, and it's this goofy like goofball version of
Thor,
very corporate Thor, short haircut. He's got a T on his chest, and I think his hammer has the Roxxon logo on it and that kind of thing. And this comes out on April 3rd. That other book I'm talking about comes out 2 weeks later on April 17th. So this is sort of the lead into that, which is why we wanted to talk about it, because it just sounds bizarre, but in a good way. It just sounds like it's something different. So, and in this one, Thor goes to Roxxon to sort of take on the Enchantress and the Minotaur, but the solicitation says that his enemies are there waiting to steal from him the one thing that was Thor's alone, and I think that's like his memories or his past, basically. So just like really, it's kind of a different story for Thor, and I don't think it's going to be like a big crossover event or anything. It's just like something they're going to do real quick.
People are going to be talking about it though, because it's very ambitious.
Yeah, it's very ambitious. It's just different. It's a little bit strange, but also interesting. So we wanted to talk about it now. If you want to get the lead into that, it's this issue right here. So we have our A cover by Alex Ross. There is a Karen Darboe variant. There is a Nick Bradshaw connecting variant, and now this one actually is going to connect with another cover that Nick Bradshaw is doing for that Roxxon Presents Thor book, which comes out on April 17th. And it has the sort of goofy looking Thor with the T and the short hair and whatever other character is going to be in it. And they're sort of facing the other way. And you have the Minotaur skull, the other half of it. So, but that cover, it's not available yet, but we'll talk about that in a couple weeks, I guess. But then there's also a Sergio Davila vampire variant. And I like the old school look of that, too. The old school Tomb of Dracula look. Obviously, I guess getting ready for Blood Hunt.
Yeah, and this time, instead of Adventures into Mystery, it's Adventures into Fear.
Oh, I didn't see that. That's cool. Very cool, yeah.
Okay, next up is Primer #1 from DC. Now, if this looks familiar, this was actually released as a young adult graphic novel. But I guess they've decided to break it off into a 4-issue miniseries. But I believe it's the same thing. So this is by Jennifer Murrow and Thomas Kajelski. and Gretel Lusky. And it's about a character here named Ashley Rayburn, who I actually know someone named Ashley Rayburn, which is very funny. She's an upbeat girl, but with a downbeat past. And her father is in prison, and the foster family that takes her in, one of them is a artist and the other one is a scientist, and they have developed a body paint that gives the wearer different powers. So Primer, she I think becomes a hero in this by using some of that paint, and kind of a mix between like artist, creative, and hero. I know a lot of people love this, and this is interesting. So this will be kind of the first comic appearance of this character, I guess. It's weird how that works out, but maybe if you didn't read the graphic novel, or you like reading individual issues, check this one out, and it's just the one cover.
Yeah, that one too. It was some customers here, some local folks here. They really recommend it. They
Yeah.
talked about it a lot. I've heard more than one person talk about how good that story is. So yeah. All right. So next is monsters. Okay, so hold on. This is funny. Monsters are my business, and business is bloody. Now that second part isn't on this, but that's how the solicitation reads. So I'm not really sure. I guess it's just monsters are my business. That's what's on the cover. But this one sounds super fun. So it's written by Cullen Bunn. So you know you're in for a good time there. The art is by Patrick Piazzalunga. It's described as an action horror comedy, and it's about a guy named Tanner Grisham, and you can see him. That's the big guy with the axe on the cover there. And it also features a necromancer who wants him dead, and I think that's the other person with the glasses in the car, and also a chainsaw-wielding koala named Cuddles. So, you know, you have a trio of fun right there.
If only I hadn't read so many books with that description.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
That old hack of the chainsaw wielding koala.
Right. And the three of them are going to wage a bloody war against nightmares from beyond time and space. So this in particular, when a group of government contractors goes missing in the nightmare landscape of the flooded zone, Grizz stumbles into a mystery he may not be able to carve his way out of, or maybe hack his way out of with that big axe. But this sounds really fun. Cullen Bunn is great at writing fun, slightly spooky supernatural stories like this, but also with a pinch of fun in there as well. So I think this is going to be really great, and this is our only cover.
And next up, we've got I believe this is a miniseries or a one shot. I'm not quite sure. This is Star Wars: The High Republic Adventures, Saber for Hire, by Cavan Scott and Rachel Stott. And in this, Ty York, our character on the cover there, who is a former Jedi turned monster hunter, is behind the Nile Stormwall, which is the big villains have made a big kind of bubble, and you can't get through in or out of it. But she is behind that wall and really loving it because all the jobs the Jedi would have done, she's doing, but this time for profit. So hunting all these monsters that are terrorizing different planets and all of that. But it sounds like some foes and friends from her past are going to be coming into her life, maybe for good or bad. So, really fun one here. I love this character. I worked on this character in the Tales from the Rancor Pit.
Oh, yeah.
This was my first Star Wars job, is working on a Ty York story. So I have this character is very near and dear to me.
Special place in your heart,
yeah. But you know, happy to see that character continue, and that I just got a little piece of that.
Yeah.
Storyline.
Did you get to design anything on
nope,
her?
I just got to stressfully draw that head crown thing.
Oh, I remember you talking about that.
That's very strange lightsaber, which there wasn't a whole lot of reference for when I did it. So. But I also believe it is just the one cover for this.
All right, so next is Street Fighter Masters, Akuma versus, is it Ryu or Ryu? That's like the great debate, right?
I think when I was younger I said Ryu, but then later I hear people say Ryu.
I think it's Ryu, but yeah, when I was a kid I said Ryu. But yeah, this is issue number 1. This I don't know how many issues it's going to be, but there's not a lot of description here. But it does say the rivalry between Akuma and Ryu reaches its epic conclusion. They're both at the peak of their power, but when the dust settles, only one will be left standing. So you know,
final showdown between the two biggest rivals
until the next one, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, so if you're a Street Fighter fan, do not miss this. Should be pretty cool. We have our A cover right here. We also have a Genzoman Ryu variant, and then the Genzoman Akuma variant. Do those connect? Doesn't look like
really,
it.
But it looks like they should.
Yeah.
They need little health bars in the corner.
Right.
Okay, next up is a new one-shot Dungeons and Dragons: The Thief of Many Things. And if you are familiar with D&D, you play D&D, you probably know about what this issue is about. So this is by Max Dunbar and Jim Zub, and the deck of Many Things is infamous in the D&D world for having these cards that basically could throw the world into chaos. They're very strong magical artifacts, and they recently just released the like one you could buy. It was like a box of many things, and it had the cards in it and everything. And this is a little tied in with that because it features fresh lore tied to the Book of Many Things source book, and it brings the legend of the deck to life. So if you want some more D&D lore, especially that's like very pertinent to what the new source book that came out is, this sounds really fun, and I like that it's a one shot. It's gonna have multiple stories in it, so don't miss this one. We've got this A cover right here, and we have a Lonergan variant as well. Next up, we got notable 2s and 3s continuations of series that may have already started, may have not, but we want to make sure that you are on board for when they do.
This is Cemetery Kids Don't Die #2. The first one came out just a couple weeks ago, and it was very interesting. It was different, right? So in this one, Pick, who is one of the kids, he's the kid who is in a coma right now. He is still stuck in the Dreamwave in the game console. Well, he's still there. He's still strapped in the Dreamwave. And the other kids, Birdie, Wilson, and Enid, they enter the Piped District in the game that they're playing, in the game that he's stuck in, where the gameplay increases in complexity and horror as it taps into their deepest fears. So, this is very. This gives me vibes of like there's a lot of anime where kids get trapped in video games, and this is kind of like that, but with a slightly scarier twist, you know. But yeah, kids trying to get their friends out of a game. This is our A cover, and then we have the Alex Leckman lawn variant.
That's also very weird.
Yeah, I don't think we saw that creature in the first issue.
It takes me a minute to wrap my head around what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Okay, next up we've got Suicide Squad Kill Arkham Asylum #3. This continues the prequel to the video game that is now out. Each issue of this, of course, comes with a code that you can download, a little extra something for the game. And in this issue, it sounds like it's focusing on Harley after the doors of Arkham are open. So, really fun one there. I really like the first issue. It was a great, just standalone Suicide Squad book. So,
and the second issue comes out next week.
Yes. They're all polybagged, so no one's snatching those codes. So we've got our A cover right here. We have our Ariel Olivetti variant, and we have this really nice Stephanie Hans variant.
I like that
one.
Very
cool.
Yeah.
I love the red's like glowing.
Yeah. All right, this is the Six Fingers #2. This is just continuing the Six Fingers and also the one hand like story that both of the books are telling. So, and this is the book that follows the killer, although he doesn't know why he did it. But in this one, Johann's life, he's the killer. It's falling apart. His life is falling apart as the one hand murders escalate. He begins to fear an outside force at play. And what does it want? Why is it after him? Because, like I said, he doesn't remember committing this murder. He doesn't know why he did it. Although it did seem like he started to remember at the end, but he still doesn't know. It's like it was almost like an out of body experience. And what is it that's controlling him? Now, I do think we talked about this. We did talk about this last week. So I think the FOC date for this got moved back one. But if you ordered it a week ago, your orders are still good, but now you have an extra weekend to get it. This is our A cover, and then we have a Lawrence Campbell and Lee Lawridge B cover. I believe they did the or Lee Lawridge did the A cover and this one as well, I believe. Yeah.
Next up, we got cool covers. Just a bunch of cool covers and cool stuff on the inside of them too, I bet. Starting with Harley Quinn at #38. This is the start of a new story arc. Sounds like it's going to be about a birthday party, and it features Kite Man. So
hell yeah,
exactly. But we've got some amazing covers to this. So starting off with we've got this Terry Dodson and Rachel Dodson cover. Love that. Clearly Harley is better versed in skating than Ivy is.
Right.
And then we have this awesome Suzumaka Women's History Month variant, which I'm getting a lot of Margot Robbie Harley through the filter of Margot Robbie Barbie.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's going to be a big cover.
Yeah, that's good. Next is Detective Comics #1083. This is just continuing Act 3 of Ron V's Gotham Nocturne storyline, and this is part 3 of an Elegy of Sand, which started 2 issues ago, where Batman is out in the desert trying to wrestle with his own demons, his own inner demons, and in this one he is still doing that. He's not out of the woods yet, but he is going to try to rid his mind of the Asthma demon and get back to Gotham because the Orgums are they've turned it into a crazy place, basically. So this is the C cover by Kelly Jones.
It's really cool to see a Kelly Jones Batman again.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got some really cool covers for Power Girl number 7. First off, we have this Jay Lee variant. This just got revealed. It wasn't even available earlier today, but you can see it for the first time here. And we also have the Suzumaka Women's History Month variant.
I like that one.
Suzumaka doing all of these. Very, very cool. And then we also have, I love this Ramona Freydon Women's History Month.
Yeah, and she sadly just passed away just a couple
days
ago.
Yeah. You know, co-creator of Aqualad, you know, a lot of Aquaman stuff, and co-creator of Metamorpho.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, big loss there,
Yeah.
but glad to see her art living on here.
This is Green Arrow number 10. The solicitation says 10 to 12, but this is an ongoing series now. I guess they just haven't updated it. Number 9 was awesome. In this one, Green Arrow and Connor Hawke continue their search for Roy Harper, although Amanda Waller did tell Green Arrow that she would tell him... She told him that she would divulge the location of Roy if he would go do something for her. But in this one, they are continuing their search, but they are attacked by surprise agents of Amanda Waller, Red Arrow, Red Canary, Arrowhead, and Speedy. So that's really cool. The A cover is really cool, too, because they're all on there, like, you know, drawing him down. But this is the B cover by Jorge Fornes.
This also reminds me a lot of the Jeff Lemire Sorrentino run of Green Arrow.
Yeah.
This looked a lot like the art in that book.
Yeah.
Okay, next up, this one's really cool. This is Killadelphia number 34, and Killadelphia has done some very interesting stuff. We had some issues that featured Spawn, and now Savage Dragon is going to be in Killadelphia, which whoever thought that was going to happen, but want to show those off here. So this is our A cover for that. This is by Alexander, and we have a Sorrel variant as well. I wonder if that's original Savage Dragon, or is that Malcolm Dragon?
I think it's Malcolm.
Okay, that would make sense if it's in current timeline.
Yeah. This is Avengers number 12. And so this is with this issue, it's starting to tie into all the Fall of X stuff because the Avengers have kind of been waiting for Iron Man to enact his plan, and we just saw in this new issue of Iron Man that he has now done that, and now it is time for the Avengers to strike out against Orcus and help out the X-Men. So it's all starting to really tie in with the X-Men stuff here. And we wanted to show you this Lucas Wernick variant, and also the Pete Woods vampire variant. Vision is a vampire. How does that work?
I was about to say, out of all the people that I would think would be a vampire, he'd be the last one.
I don't know.
Okay, next up we got Sensational She-Hulk number 7. I'm really excited about this story arc because it's where her and Jack of Hearts go on a space vacation, but it sounds like it's not going well because she's going to be fighting for her life on a space station orbiting the sun. But wanted to show you some great covers. So we got our A cover by Jen Bartel, and then we also have a Betsy Cola vampire variant. I like the white streak in her hair.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Look.
This is Captain America number 8. In this one, Captain America is working to form a strategy to protect Lyra and the Front Door Cabaret, but sometimes a good strategy requires sacrifices to be made. So, you know, wait to see that. But this is another vampire variant. That's really cool. And then there is a Hildebrand variant. So this is the Marvel Masterpieces cards from back in the day, and I always liked this one a lot. Very patriotic.
Okay, next up we've got Star Wars number 45. This one, Lando is on trial against the Alliance. His only hope may be Darth Vader.
What?
This is really cool, though. I'm excited. Usually it'd be like, oh, it's a trial issue. This is going to be boring. This is written by Charles Soule, who was a lawyer. And so I feel like he's got a way of crafting these, like when he wrote Daredevil for a while, when he wrote She-Hulk. He can do this stuff really well. So we've got a couple of variant covers here. This is the Wingard Thrawn Rebels cover. And we have this, I believe this is a Kamenkoli. They're doing these new Master and Apprentice variants. So this one is with Luke and Rey.
That's nice. This is Vengeance of the Moon Knight number 4. And this one is basically just about Hunter's Moon setting out to find out who the new Moon Knight is, and he will stop at nothing to learn that. So this series has been great so far, and we still don't know who the new Moon Knight is yet, but maybe we'll find out.
Fight where he just keeps trying to reach for his mask.
Yeah, he just keeps pulling it off. Yeah, that is like I couldn't figure out any other way, so I'm just trying to tear it off. But this is our A cover, and then there's an Elizabeth Torque vampire variant.
That one's really cool with Moon Knight kind of coming out of the grave with Khonshu and all that.
Yeah.
Okay, next up we've got X-Men number 33. So once again, we've got one of the Marvel Masterpiece variants, this time with Emma Frost. And this one, it just talks about this is the X-Men's final stand, or they're heading to their final stand against Orcus. We're leading up to the end of a lot of these titles before they get restarted, probably after May. So
yeah, I think it's June.
June. I'm really interested to see how we're getting right there to the end of this big story.
Yeah,
and they're even the A cover has them all like running in action.
Well, I think it's all the X-Men stuff is sort of barreling towards Free Comic Book Day, because in the Free Comic Book Day book, one of the Marvel books, we're going to get a tiny little preview at what's next to come for the X-Men. So yeah, everything is wrapping up real fast.
And then we also have this is the Lee Garbett Vampire variant, which I really like. This one looks really good.
Yeah.
And then we also have the Turin Clark Micronauts variant.
Oh.
Have we seen any of the Micronauts variants?
No.
I know we had the ROM, but this might be the first of the Micronauts variants, unless it's really late.
Yeah,
but I don't think so.
I don't think we've seen any of the other ones yet.
And I want to say they met.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. Yeah. This is Red Sonja number 9. We wanted to show you this nice Beren's cover. And in this one, the barriers between the worlds are gone, and Red Sonja faces challenges far greater than she could have imagined, and the gods are nowhere to be found. So we just wanted to show you this really, very cool cover, almost like super photorealistic.
Yeah. Also, we've got Conan the Barbarian number 9. I believe this begins a new story arc.
Yeah.
We're back with Rob De La Torre on art. And we've got this cover by him, which is awesome, which is a scene from Tower of the Elephant, which is not this storyline, but a really nice kind of nod to that original story.
I think they did that storyline in the old 70s Marvel books. I think I remember reading that.
And in the Dark Horse ones.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, it's one of the most classic Conan stories. I love that story. So we've got this one right here, the De La Torre variant, and we have this Gist variant, which is also very, very cool. Conan always finds himself in strange situations.
Yeah. This is Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, number 5. This series is fantastic. And in this one, actually, with this one, I want to just read you the complete solicitation, because they always do so well with these. So the whole solicitation reads, Sam's foe was quick and mighty clever. Now Sam must skip town, maybe forever. The town doesn't trust her, they think she's the one, so Sam's on her own, and alone she must run. But maybe, just maybe, she'll learn in the wild and return to that town to face the devil child. So, we're narrowing in on figuring out who the killer is in Woodbrook. This is a fantastic series, though. I love it so much.
Read kids' storybooks.
If they're like this, yes. I wish I had this to read to my son when he was little, because I used to read to him at bedtime, and this would have been the perfect thing to read, right? But we wanted to show you this awesome Riley Rossmo variant. He's done one of these for every issue so far. They've looked like storybooks, and they're awesome.
Next up, we got graphic novels and more, including reprints and all that good stuff. Starting with Duke, number 1, third print. So if you missed out on any of the issues of Duke, the reprints keep rolling in. We also have a Duke number 2 second printing. I love this one with Baroness. By Howard, and he's been doing one of these kind of character spotlights for, I believe, all the second printing covers. So another really nice one there.
And then we've got reprints for Void Rivals. So this is Void Rivals number 1, 7th printing. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So if you miss Void Rivals, if you're trying to catch up on the Energon Universe stuff and you want all of it, There you go, right
Issue
there.
7 comes out next week.
Yeah, and we'll be talking about that on Monday. But this is the first issue. The 7th printing is crazy. Number 2 is getting a 6th printing, and then number 6 is getting a 3rd printing. So this is the one right before the one next week, and it's a really good series too. It doesn't. I mean, there's a small tie-ins to Transformers and G.I. Joe, but don't overlook this one because it's a great story on its own.
And next up, we've got John Constantine, Hellblazer, Dead in America, #1, 2nd print. So if you miss out on that first one and you want to dive into this very Vertigo feeling Constantine series, pick up this 2nd printing.
And then we've got reprintings for the entire Joker Year 1 storyline that they just wrapped up in Batman. So this is Batman 142, the 3rd printing. We've got Batman 143, the 2nd printing, and then Batman 144, also the 2nd printing. And that one just came out last week, and they're already on the 2nd printings.
We also have Edge of the Spider-Verse #1, 2nd printing. This sold out pretty fast too. Featured the first appearance of Weapon 8, and some really interesting stuff at the end with Spider-Man 2099. So if you missed it, you maybe want to jump onto the rest of the series and pick up this 2nd printing.
This is Avengers Twilight #3, the 2nd printing. This one just came out this week. It's already on a 2nd printing, and this issue was the best of the 3 that are out so far. Things are really starting to get moving. It's a cool story by Chip Zdarsky, and if you missed it this week, you can get...
This was a really hot issue this week.
Yeah, it was good. Like, it was really good. So if you missed it, now's your chance to get another one.
And we've got Spider-Punk #1, 2nd printing. This is not the final cover art, but I'm guessing it's going to be very similar to this. And, of course, that just came out this week as well. Knew it would sell well. Everybody loves Spider-Punk from the movie, and they're getting introduced to him in the comics. So pick this one up if you missed out or you're trying to collect all Spider-Punk stuff, because I feel like that's still something you can do at this point. There's not too much Spider-Punk.
Right.
It can't be like a 100% collector.
Yeah, and that first trade of the first miniseries, or the recent one from last year, it's still out there. It's still in print. You can get that too. So yeah, it's easy to get some good Spider-Punk stuff right now. And then next is the Superman trade paperback volume 2, The Change. So this is the current Superman story, or the current Superman book written by Joshua Williamson. This is the 2nd story arc, collecting a trade paperback. This one is going to be $16.99. It's going to collect Superman #6 through 12. The only thing that's a little bit weird about this is a trade paperback, whereas the first volume was a hardcover.
I was wondering about that.
So now it's like, well, I have my hardcover separate from my trade paperback. So do I put them together? Do I split them up? Like, I don't know.
You're doing maybe a hardcover later, second?
I don't know.
Usually they don't do that.
DC usually does hardcovers first, but like some of these Dawn of DC books, like Green Arrow, that's a trade paperback from the get-go.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a little bit of a weird decision.
And I don't think there's been a paperback release for the first
Not of this one yet. I think it's coming, but they usually do paperbacks way later. But
I commend them for how fast they got this one out, though, because this storyline just ended.
Yeah.
I remember we had to wait 6-8 months to get the volume, but this is close to like you can jump right on after reading this.
And it's been a great series anyway. So regardless of the format, what matters is the story inside, and the story inside is awesome.
We also have Poison Ivy Volume 1, the trade paperback. I believe this came out in hardcover first, and now it's in paperback, so a little bit cheaper at $16.99. It collects issues 1 through 6 of G. Willow Wilson and Mauricio Takara's phenomenal series that was only supposed to be 6 issues, then 12 issues, then ongoing. Because it's so popular.
I think G. Willow Wilson posted a picture of she's working on number 26 right now, so that's insane. I mean, that's
so great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That shows like DC's really listening to people when they're like, "Oh, we love this series," like Green Arrow, Poison Ivy. So if you like books, support them.
Absolutely,
and they might just continue. And that's it for Comics from the Future. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to head over to infinityflux.net right now where you can pre-order these books we just talked about, plus much, much more. There's always cool stuff going up over there. If you don't have an account with us, it's super easy to set one up, whether you're local or far away. We ship. We've got a great shipping team. All your stuff will arrive just as it should. And everything that you pre-order, you get 10% off of, which is a nice little added bonus.
Yep.
Stay tuned for our show coming up on Monday, where we'll be going over some of the biggest books that are coming out next week, and there are some big ones. Spectacular Spider-Man, Void Rivals number 7, Ultimate X-Men number 1. I mean,
Last Ronin, the new
Last
Ronin books out next
2,
week.
number 1.
Uh-huh.
It's a big week. It was pretty fun putting together the list of stuff we're going to be reading. So come back for that. And if you watched it to the end, leave a what's a good emoji
what was
for this time?
Leave a cat for Feral number 1. That's gonna be great.
Leave a cat.
Leave a cat emoji.
And maybe tell us if you have a cat, what's its name?
Yeah,
because we love animals. So thank you so much for watching, and until next time, see ya.